out here we have little angels nursery. So let's see if they can. So I would like to take an interview on the basis of my project.
You're from EUMIND. It's a school project? Yes, you can. Please come.
So now I am at Little Angels Nursery and I am taking the interview of Mr. Sabana Patel. So let's start with the question. How many people were there in your family?
When I was
A
teenager. See, we were 2 brothers, 2 sisters, a mom and dad. We were 6 people in the family.
Did you all live together?
Yes, of course, we lived together.
What is the profession of your father and mother?
My father was in Portress. That is on ship, Godi.
Where did you live with your parents?
Mumbai.
Do you remember any historical fact or event when you were a teenager which has impressed you?
Historical, what I remember is there was a war between India and Pakistan. That is, we remember when we were very small. There was a war between India and Pakistan for Bangladesh, to free Bangladesh.
Were there any differences in the upbringing of boys and girls?
In our family?
Yes.
Yes, because now I am 55. Those years, of course, there were differences. When we were young, we too felt that our brothers were getting more freedom than what we got.
Did boys and girls have the same rights to education?
Same right to education.
As school?
Schools, of course, everybody's got the right to education. Yes.
Were there any kind of differences in which the schools, the boys and girls chose?
See, we went to girls' school, so that time we did not realize if there were any differences because we never went to co-ed. What was the difference? We were being sent to girls' schools especially. Those days, there was less trend of co-ed schools.
What differences were there between the men and women with reference to work?
With reference to work. See, men, they have responsibilities. Yes, that is financial responsibilities. But females, though if she is working, she is equally responsible for the household responsibilities also. Though she is earning whatever, if she is interested in a career, she wants to earn money, she wants to add to the household finances, there is no problem. But she cannot leave her household responsibilities. So this is our Indian trend. Where males, if he wants to help, he will help. Nobody will force him to help in the household.
What the salary same?
Salary, it depends how many hours you're putting in your job.
Between men and women?
Men and women, yes, of course. There is no salary differences in India. We don't have actually. That men are paid more and women are paid less. No. It's what kind of work you are doing and how many hours of work you are putting into your job.
Thank you, Mr. Welcome to my interview. Today I am going to be interviewing Mr. So, let's start with the questions. How many people were there in your family? And did they live in the same house?
Total 8 people were there in the family and we used to live in the same house.
What was the profession of your father and mother?
My father was a supervisor in Mumbai and my mother was a house.
So where did you live with your parents?
I lived at Satya Masjid, Beni Bazaar, and after that I shifted to Mahi.
Were there differences in the upbringing of boys and girls when you were present?
No, actually there were no difference. Boys and girls were equal.
Okay. Was the relationship of boys and girls equal in your family?
Yes,
What were the differences?
there were no differences.
Thank you, Mr. Iqbal.
You're most welcome, you're most welcome.
So let's begin. My first question is that how many people were in your parents' family?
We had a nuclear family. It was my mother and father and we 5 brothers, sisters.
What was the profession of your father and mother?
Mother was a homemaker and my father was a businessman. He had his own shop.
Where did you live with your parents?
We used to live in Andheri.
Do you remember any historical fact or event when you were a teenager in India which impressed you?
Well, not a historical, I can say a tragedical event. When I was in school, that happened was the Bhopal tragedy. That really, at that time I was not so much aware, but afterwards realized how the victims were treated and justice was denied to them.
So, what were the differences that were between men and women with reference to work?
Well, I think time has changed, but differences still is the same. The situation has not changed a lot, because at that time also the efficiency of the men and women, if compared, was good. But because of gender discrimination, men was really at the upper hand regarded to women.
Did women have the same salaries compared to men?
No, I don't think so. Women were paid better than the men because being of the gender problem.
Thank you, Mrs. Mona, for giving me. Today, I am going to be interviewing Mrs. Fatima. So, let's start with the questions. How many people were there in your family?
Right now, I have 4 people in my family. Husband, me, and 2 children.
What was the profession of your father and mother?
My mother is a teacher. My father is an estate.
Where did you live with your parents?
Where? I live in Mumbai, Mahim.
Do you remember any historical fact or event when you were a teenager which has impressed you?
No one event, there are many such events you can relate to any situation. So I cannot say one event.
Were there differences in the upbringing of boys and girls in the family?
No, not that one. Not that one.
Did boys and girls have the same rights to education at school?
Yes, very much.
Were there any differences in the kind of schools they chose?
No, very much.
What were the differences between men and women with reference to work?
There is no difference between if you are capable enough, you get that post. There is no difference.
Are there any differences in salaries?
And my profession, I am a teacher, so nothing different between men and women per se, but just the designation maybe, but not in men and women.
How was the household work divided among men and women?
Household work is mostly women. To be very honest, yes. No men.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Khan. So let's start with the questions. How many people were there in your family and did they all live together?
Yeah, I had 4 other brothers, me, and my mom, dad, and my aunt. The family was staying.
What was the profession of your father and mother?
My mother was a homemaker, and father he used to work at Mumbai Portals. He was a supervisor.
Where did you live with your parents?
In area,
Yes.
I stayed in Mumbai. Mahim.
Were there differences in the upbringing of boys and girls in your family?
As long as I know, I would say no.
Do you remember any historical fact or event when you were a teenager which has impressed you?
I would say, yeah, one of the events which has impressed me was over here we had a big craze of this Lokpal bill, and Mr. Anna Hazare, he was like protesting against the corruption which is still going on here in India. So I would say that event is impressive.
So, did boys and girls have the same rights to school?
Yeah,
Okay. What are the differences between men and women with reference to work?
differences, I would say there is no differences. Even women can do what men can do. So,
Were there any salary differences between men and women? I'm going to be interviewing Mrs. Ghazala Street. So let's start with the interview. How many people are there in your family?
10.
Did they all live together?
Yes.
What is the profession of your father and mother?
My father was mechanic and my mother is housewife.
Where did you live with your parents?
In Mahim.
Do you remember any historical fact or event when you were a teenager? Okay, it's fine. Were there any differences in the upbringing of boys and girls in your family?
No.
Did boys and girls have the same rights to education at school?
Yes.
What differences were there between men and women with reference to work?
There is no difference. No difference.
Did men and women have the same salary?
Yes.
How was the household work divided among men and women?
All work was done by me.
Thank you, Mrs. Ghazala. Now I am interviewing Mrs. Norinda Sheikh. So let's start with the interview. How many people are there in your family?
There are 6 in the family.
Did you all live together?
Yes.
What was the profession of your father and mother?
Father is a businessman and my mother is a housewife.
Where did you live with your parents?
And they are Philippines.
Do you remember any historical fact or event when you were a teenager which has impressed you?
Yes, there's an earthquake, massive earthquake. There's so many people.
Were there differences in the upbringing of boys and girls in your family? Did boys and girls have the same right to education at school?
Yes, definitely.
What differences were there between men and women with reference to work? There's a difference. Did women and the men have same salaries?
No.
How was household work divided among men and women?
Mostly women do it all work.
Now I'm sitting here with Mr. Saeed Qadri for the interview. So let's start with the question. How many people were there in your family?
There are 5 people.
Did they all live together?
Yes.
What was the profession of your father and mother?
My father was an engineer and my mother, she is a housewife.
Where did you live with your parents?
I live in Bangalore.
Do you remember any historical fact or event when you were a teenager which has impressed you?
Sorry, no.
Were there any differences in the upbringing of boys and girls in your family? Did boys and girls have the same rights to education at school? What differences were there between men and women with reference to work? Did women have the same salaries compared to men?
Yes.
How was household work divided among men and women?
Actually, women do all the housework.
Like all good things have to come to an end, so do our interviews. So this is Faraz from EUMIND, signing off.